I'm Jackie from Pocket of Preschool, and tonight or today, depending on when you're watching, we are going to talk all about camping activities you can do in your classroom. So tell me in the comments, do you do a camping theme in your classroom? And then also, because I've done it both times, do you do it in the fall or do you do it in the spring? I've done it in the fall sometimes. It really depends on my kiddos because sometimes I have a lot of kids that go, I live in Missouri, so we have very seasonal weather. So a lot of kids sometimes go camping in the fall. So then I might do the camping theme in the fall, or sometimes I save it for spring if we're learning about like insects and all of the kind of like animals that are outside. Or if I do butterflies, I like to do camping sometimes too. So kind of like intertwine, or kind of maybe do it after I do insects and then we go into camping. Because it kind of all goes together, right? Because there's all the bugs outside. So first things first, the links where all the things are. So if you look where the links are, there's a link to my camping blog post. And it has, or all the camping things on my blog, it has like a camping book list, it has camping activities. So there's activities like that are not printables, just hands-on stuff. And then there's book lists and dramatic play. Now, I'm not gonna show you dramatic play because I don't have it set up right now. I'm not teaching this year, but camping is one of my favorite dramatic play setups. So I actually have a picture. There's a whole blog post on my campsite, or like my camping dramatic play transformation. But here it is. So I usually have it for about a month or two, or not a month or two, 2 to 4 weeks. Sometimes I'll do the camping theme for a month because I'll slowly add to it. So we have like our chairs and our fire, and then I usually have the kiddos set up the tent. So if it's like one of those like pop-up tents, I usually have them set it up. If it's one that's harder to set up, then I'll have that set up already. But I have all of our camping supplies. You can see my night sky, which is I just hang either butcher paper or that black plastic tablecloth from the dollar store. I'll hang that kind of on the ceiling, like kind of loop it on the ceiling. My trick to that is if you have like magnets on your ceiling, put a book ring on the end and like attach a magnet and it'll stick. Or not like those magnet clips, but if you don't have that, you can also take a book ring and kind of loop it. Like if this is the like metal ceiling tile, you can like loop it like that so it kind of sticks. Or like you can just like, like and this is my in-home one, so I just like use a thumbtack to put it in the ceiling. And then I also like after maybe 2 weeks, I'll add a river, and then that's our boat. A laundry basket or a box is a great boat. And then we can do all of the fishing and pond things. So it kind of really extends it. And if you look in the back, and we're gonna talk about the mural in a minute when I talk about all the art stuff, but we make a mural for the background. And if you do it at the end of the year, it actually makes a really great backdrop if you do graduation in your room, because how cute is this to have in the back of all your students? Because it's their artwork. So it makes a really cute background for graduation. So check out that camping dramatic play post because it's a ton of fun, and they can act out and pretend to be campers and go on nature hikes and go hiking and set up the tent and roast marshmallows and make a fire and all the things. So first thing I want you to remember is that a lot of your kiddos, maybe it depends on where you live, because it depends on do you like what the weather is basically. Like I live in Missouri, so a lot of people only go camping in the spring and the fall. Maybe you live somewhere where it's warmer and they go spring camping all year, or maybe you live where it's super cold and they go camping different times. But some of your kids may have never been camping, so you want to read some books about camping, whether it's a nonfiction book or fiction or nonfiction, whatever you want to do, like this Pete the Cat one. And again, I have a book list on my blog with a ton of great camping books. And then you also want to read books about all of the different forest animals. So like this one's one of my favorite. It's Over in the Forest. It's a counting book with forest animals. Don't forget about Baby Bear. Baby Bear, what do you see? It's got all of the, a lot of forest animals in it. And then if if your students really like birds, read some bird books. If they're really into like the frogs and the turtles in the pond and the river, then read about like what's at a pond and a river. and kind of go with what they're really into. Let your students tell you and show you what they're interested in and kind of let them kind of guide where the activities go, because camping, you can do a lot of things. You can do forest animals, insects, pond, obviously all of the camping things, and a lot of nature. So let's keep going. So, one thing you can do for reading, since I have my books out, and again, we have little learners. If you have preschool, like 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, this may not last very long, but if you can have everybody bring in a flashlight, or if you have some flashlights, you can put those out and pretend, obviously, but put these out in the reading center, and maybe you have like a table and kind of put like a fabric over it and kind of make it like a tent, and they can read in the dark in the library center. Just another fun way to read. Or like everybody can read in the dark during circle time. So when you're reading circle, turn off the lights and they have their flashlights, or everybody grab a book and we can, buddy read with our books and our flashlights. Again, if you have little learners think you're buddy reading books, or you're just looking at books on the carpet in the dark, it's not going to be a super long activity, but it's really great for kindergarten because it'll last a little bit longer. But again, it's really fun, even if it's only like 5-7 minutes, when they're just like reading and looking at books in the dark with their flashlights, they will still have a blast. Again, we have to do the activities based on how old our kiddos are and how long their attention spans are. So, read with flashlights. Another thing that your students may never have done or had is roast marshmallows. Now, obviously, you're not going to roast marshmallows in your classroom, but you can still make marshmallows like s'mores. So grab, this one's empty, but grab a bag of marshmallows, or you can grab like a tub of that marshmallow like fluff, and then have like a s'more snack. So give everybody 2 pieces of graham cracker, give them a piece of chocolate, and either like, this is where the fluff comes in. If you have a microwave in your classroom, I did, so I warmed up the marshmallows for like, it doesn't take really long. It takes like 10 seconds and they get like a little fluffy. You can go around and scoop their marshmallows on. I did it in a big bowl and I just scooped them on their little graham cracker. You can put like a plastic spoon, scoop their marshmallow on and hand it to them, and then they can put it on their graham cracker. Or just give them a spoon of marshmallow fluff and let them make a s'more. So they have the graham cracker and the marshmallow and the chocolate, and they can smash it together and then they can eat it. Or some of them will not eat it. Some of them will be like, no, I'm not touching this, especially because the marshmallow is sticky. It's a sensory thing. Again, have them make it. If they want to eat it, awesome. If they don't want to, great. If they want to make it their own way, that's okay too. We never force kids to eat anything they don't want to. If your kids they're like that marshmallow fluff is really gonna throw them, because marshmallow fluff is very, very sticky. Just be like, if you don't want this marshmallow fluff, you don't have to have it. So just let them not touch the marshmallow fluff if they don't want to. Or just like maybe have it on a plate, because you know your kids. So if you know that's gonna bother them, be ready for, and make sure you say, if this bothers you, so that they know they can opt out rather than like having a behavior, because that will get them out of it, right? If you don't give them an exit strategy, they will. With forest animals, a lot of people, maybe you live in the city and you don't see a lot of forest animals, or maybe you live in the county and maybe like we only really see deer, frogs. I haven't seen a turtle around my house in a very long time. So why not, after you read a book about forest animals, make a anchor chart about forest animals. Now, I cannot draw. I don't even pretend. Also, since my class was always a mixture of 3, 4, and 5-year-olds, if I would draw each animal, I would lose them. So I use stickers or Google Images when I'm making a list of things, so I can really quick write the word and put the image up, or have those Google image pictures ready to go. So you can also share the pen for this activity, again, if they have the attention span for it. So like this sticker pad has like an eagle, a deer, a frog, a bear. I would have these like cut out like in my hand, like ready to go. And what you can do is you can share the pen with your students. So here's the anchor chart I did when we were doing pets. And again, I used some pet stickers I had, and I had each kiddo tell me what the pet was, or like the class, we talked about that pet, and then we sounded the beginning sound out, and I gave the student that marker, and they wrote the first letter, because my kiddos they don't have the attention span to have their friends write out the entire word. So you can share the pen in preschool and pre-K, but so just have them write the first letter. Now you may need to write it like on the dry erase board, or maybe you need to write it in pencil or like a yellow marker, and they can trace it. That way they can make that letter. But they come up and they can write like the H for hamster, F, and I write the rest. But again, I just use stickers. And again, we're just building that background knowledge. So I can say, what are some forest animals you guys know? And maybe they'll be like, oh, I know a deer. And I'll be like, oh, deer, ear. What do you think deer starts with? And they'll go D. And I'll be like, oh, here, Sarah, come up and write a D. Lying down, big belly. And she would go like lying down, big belly. And again, if you know that kiddo can do uppercase, or if they do lowercase, you know your kids, have them write that. And then you would finish in okay, I can't write upside down very well. Okay, and then you would just kind of go through all those animals in the forest, because we need to build their background knowledge on all the things. So that's a really fun activity to do after you read a book about forest animals, is to do that chart of all the different animals that live in a forest. Okay, now let's talk about a fun manipulative that I made for camping. It's really any like nature theme. Hold on, let me poke this out so you can see it. Okay, so I have my word cards. I just happened, now my camping unit was updated March 2024. So if you haven't downloaded it lately, download it again, because there's a whole bunch of new stuff in there. But I have all of the vocabulary word cards for the camping theme. And then to make some fun manipulatives, I have these little like tree ring logs, and I wrote up, S, you can't tell. Let me try another one. So I wrote a lowercase letter on one side and the uppercase letter on the other. And then I also have these smaller rocks, H and H. And I just made some letter manipulatives. I also have a bigger set of rock letters that are like larger. But you can put these out and they can build different words. This is a great table time activity, like when they're like a rival activity when they're all coming in. So put these word cards out and then put the manipulatives out. And I also usually, if I'm doing it as a table activity, I'll put these out with magnet letters, you know, because you need a lot of the same letters, like the common letters come up a lot. And then the kids can just build the words with the manipulatives. So it's a really fun way to build that vocabulary and practice and get some exposure to letters. And you can use these for any writing activity you have. So I'm gonna put these in here because I'm gonna use them in a minute. Okay. So another fun activity, and this is in the camping unit. So I have this game, and I just put it on a tray, and I have, it's like a letter matching game. So we have the big word cards, and depending on how old your kiddos are, is going to depend on if you put out all of the alphabet, if you put out some of the alphabet. So maybe you're only going to put out letters, the first like 10 letters, and you're going to put those letters out, and then they're going to match them. And you have all of these out, and then these are the ones they match. So they're matching uppercase and a lowercase, so they got to put the tent in the forest, and then there's the fire. Now, if you teach 3-year-olds, just have them put the uppercase with the uppercase, okay? You can also put in letter manipulatives if you want, so that way they can match a letter that they can like feel how all the lines that make up that letter. So that's in my camping game. This would be a fun activity to do for like a small group, and then you can put it out in a center or like in a pocket chart. Would be really, really fun. And then I saved this one, so hold on. Uh-oh. So So we were talking about s'mores because camping is all about s'mores. So a really fun thing to do is to do s'mores write and build. So, oh my gosh, I'm surrounded by things. So I have my stick, and then these are the read, build, write boards. I already wrote the M on there, but so they would write, they would pick a letter, and then they would find the lowercase, and then they could put it on the stick like they're gonna roast the marshmallows. This is great for hand-eye coordination, and then they can roast it above the fire, and then they would write it with a dry erase marker. And typically when I do this, I have the trays out, and I would typically do them different colors, but I forgot for just when I was getting everything prepped. So I would do like maybe this tray would be yellow with the lowercase and this tray with the uppercase, and then they can match the lowercase and the uppercase, and they can also practice writing letter. And then when they're done with this one, they take it off, put it back, and they would erase, 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 and pick another one. Now, if you teach pre-K, maybe you're starting to work on sight words. So I'm gonna get rid of this. So maybe you wanna practice some sight words. I have this one set up. You're welcome. So these aren't all sight words. Some of these are blank because you can make a word, any word that you want. So maybe they pick the, they would find the word the, and they would put it on their stick, and then they can roast their sight word, and then write it with the dry erase marker, and then unlace it and put it back and pick another one. How fun is that? I mean, I will say though, every time I teach camping, I always want s'mores, and I'm always like craving that after, like as I'm teaching and acting out in dramatic play and I'm playing with kids and pretend, I like always want s'mores when I do this unit. Oh, and then also with this game, there is this Smores Letter worksheet. There's a couple other options too if you want to differentiate it, but this one is really fun. And it's also really fun to take this one and put it in the writing center along with your themed vocabulary card, the themed vocabulary cards and fun writing paper, maybe some stickers. But it's fun to throw these in there too if they want this as an option, that it's in there. Any tracing or like letter formation worksheet is always great to plop in the writing center as an option in there if they want to do it. This is a letter sort. So we are going to sort letters. And I have all of these bird letters. Now you can do it as on a mat, like this one, or you can do it as a worksheet and they can write it, and then you can keep this as an assessment. And so they would just sort uppercase, lowercase, uppercase, lowercase, because letters look so similar, and it takes a long time for students to notice all the differences, and visual discrimination is that skill that they need to develop to notice how letters are different, like how uppercase T is different than lowercase t just because this little line is moved to the top, and how B is different than P because of the placement of the curve. So letter sorts are a great game for that. And if maybe you have different kids, maybe you're having 4 kids do this, you can also have them sort it different ways. So maybe you're gonna do in my name, not my name, because you know anything with their name is a hit. Holes or no holes, if the letter has a hole or not. And then this one is fun but tricky. So we have if it just has straight lines, if it has curvy lines, or both. So like K just has straight lines. B has both curvy and straight, so that one's a little bit trickier. So another fun game for them to do and learn their letters. Okay, this is a new activity I added, and I think it's my favorite activity in the whole center. So this is hiking right the room, because animals have footprints. So, oh my gosh, these are all stuck together on me, of course. So look how fun these footprints are. So what you're gonna do is you can tape these around a center, or you can spread them. If you don't wanna do right the room and you wanna do this a little activity, you can just have them all in front of you, or like in like a tray or something. But look at these, you guys. Like we have fox and bear, and because they're kind of tricky, I did put the animal in the corner So what they're gonna do, and there's two options for this. I love putting these on clipboards if they're doing write through them, so they have something hard to write on. But they're gonna find bear, and they're gonna have to match the footprint bear, but I have the bear in the corner. So that way they know that's a bear, and they have to match it, and then they would write bear, or this one, they trace the word. So they can write it, or for my littles, trace. Two options, really fun ways to play. So I just love these footprints. How much fun are these? Oh, so fun. Okay. And then if you want to work on beginning sounds, this is a really fun game to do. So it's a picnic game because you go on picnics when you go camping. So we have something with the picnic. We have goldfish and grapes. So they would clip G because it's G. And then what is for the picnic? We have carrot and corn. So C. And there we go. We got it. And then we have one for each letter in the alphabet. And again, if you are just working on like 6 or 7 letters, or maybe 2 or 3, you can put this out if you're doing like that letter that week. Or you can just, again, you don't always have to put out the whole alphabet. If your kids aren't ready for that, put out the letters, put the letters that they're successful with, and maybe a couple new ones so they can try and figure that out. But it's a really fun game to do for a picnic. And speaking of picnics, I have a really fun butcher paper activity for you. So, when you go on a picnic, you like to eat all kinds of food, right? So I had these kind of like food stickers. Like, I think they're like summer food. It was in like a little summer food like sticker packet I had. So you could also do this if you can do this activity with any kind of camping sticker you have, whether it's bugs or frogs or what else? Like maybe if you have like bear or like a footprint, you could do this activity with any of these stickers. So what they do is the kids stick these on first, right? So they'll stick all of them on. And you can also cut these up so they're in smaller. Maybe you want to cut them up one more time so that way they only have 4 to put on. And after they put on their 4, they are going to get a marker. And here, let me get a new color here. And they're going to trace or make a line from one item to the other. So this is really great for hand-eye coordination and that just like tracking. So that way they go from watermelon, and they can do it however they want. So they could go over here, and then over here, and all over here, and then down to the hamburger, and into the hot dog, and over to the popsicle, and up to the cheeseburger, and over here, and down over, wherever they want to go. And you hear all those words I'm saying, over to the snow cone, across, up, down, up, lot and lot, tons and tons of location and positional word vocabulary they're going to be saying as they're doing this, or maybe they're going to be super quiet because they're so focused on tracing the lines. And it's okay if they go over the sticker, no big deal. But they're going to put a couple stickers on, and then they are going to trace the line. And again, if you don't have picnic stickers, it's fine. You can do, again, frogs, ducks, bugs, any kind of like bear, birds, whatever you have. But it's a really fun visual tracking game because our eyes are muscles just like our fingers, and we have to make sure they are strong. So, because if they can't track these lines when they go to read in kindergarten, they're going to have a hard time tracking, their eyes are going to have a hard time tracking across the page to read those letters, and which are really, if they're reading the words, not letters. Letters make up words. So, now, if you also, so another butcher paper activity you can do. So this is a giant piece of butcher paper. It's just all the letters in uppercase, and I wrote on them with that black marker. So, because camping is where? Outside in the forest. So grab all of your, it can be blue gems, it can be, because there's water in the forest, right? You can also do, if you have any, this is for something else in a minute, like any little mini erasers or many little bugs. So you would place these around it. And then what they would do is they would build the letters. Oh, that's a big one. And these are from the Dollar Tree, by the way. They're in like the floral department. They're gonna build that letter. I like also putting out sticks because sticks are really fun for all of like the straight lines. And then they can use the other manipulatives to make all the curves. But it's just a really fun way to build letters. Okay, and I will say I did buy, these are like 2 different sets of sticks I bought off Amazon because I'm allergic to the outside. So I buy my nature. So like I bought these rocks and these off of Amazon. Look up like craft tree ring. These are all also in my Amazon storefront. There's like skinny twigs, thicker twigs. And again, you can use whatever you got, like any nature-y, camping looking forest manipulatives you have would be perfect for this activity. Now, if your kids are doing great with uppercase, make lowercase. Because you're doing, maybe your kids need to work on numbers, so you can write all your numbers on here. Or maybe you're gonna work on shapes and they can make the shapes. Make this butcher paper activity with all of the forest things. Make it fit whatever skill that your students need to work on. And I have this one and I use it for a ton of different themes because I can literally put whatever manipulative on it I want and then it matches the theme we're doing. So those are the literacy activities. Now let's jump into math. So you saw my little bee counters. So I made this a couple years ago when I was doing a bug thing. So all this is an egg carton. It's from like Sam's. And then you can't really see it anymore, but do you see like the plastic like webbing? So what I did was I took yellow paint and like watered it down and I kind of just like drizzled it over to make it look like a honeycomb. And then I took a hot glue gun and kind of just drizzled it, let it dry. So it kind of looked like the honey. I didn't color it or anything, it's just clear. But to make a really fun counting game. So you put out some tweezers. Now, if you have 3-year-olds, you can also just make this a fine motor activity. So they can put the bees and the pollen in the beehive. Now, maybe you want to add some math. So add a number, add a dice. Why do every time on Facebook Live or on the video, I always roll like a 6 because that's going to take forever on the video. So they got 3. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And they can put it in. And they can put it in 1, they can put it in more, whatever they want to do. Now you want to work on informal addition. Maybe you're teaching kinder. Roll 2 dice, 6 plus 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8. And then they get out 8. And then we always want to have tweezers out as an option for them to work on those fine motor skills so they have super strong fingers so they can write letters forever when they're older. Or, you know, I say older in like 3rd grade when they have to write for bazillions of years. But, so make a honeycomb. And again, you don't have to have like this big one. If you have like a normal egg tray or like egg carton, you can take like 2 of those and you can glue them together. Or you can just have, you know, 1 normal egg tray and you can cut it in half if you wanted to too. So you had 2 and just put some paint on there and some, oh, I did put glitter because you know I can't do anything without adding glitter. So yeah, so honeycomb counting. I love roll and fill games. And again, like if you don't have a ton of bees, maybe you only have like 3 or 4, maybe they're like actual like bee animals, like figures, just put out pom-poms. I always add pom-poms. 1, it's just another fun texture, and 2, if you don't have that many manipulatives, it they have more things to play with for your game. Will you pass me, I have an assistant tonight. Will you pass me my letters? I forgot one letter game to tell you. There we go. Okay, so one game I forgot to tell you for literacy is fishing for letters. I always have this giant tub of letters out in my literacy center, and I have 2 fishing poles. I only ever put out 2 because otherwise they become swords, or they hit each other, or they get super tangled. And how I made these, you guys, like bazillion, I would say over 10 years ago. So it's just a, like, I don't know, what are these, like sticks from the craft store, like the long ones, and you can get them short and then you can cut them. And then hot glue, and this is that like plastic string, and I put one of these like round magnets on the end, and then they can fish for letters. Now, if you need a river or like a pond, this is just a piece of like blue, like foam. You could also put out a piece of tissue paper and just like dump them out there. This is fun to do for fine motor journals, or just to have out as the activity. And they can pick a letter. Again, we're working on some upper arms muscles and hand-eye coordination, all the things. C, cat. And you can have them, depending on how old they are, you can have them tell you, say the letter, or they can ask you what the letter is if they don't know, or they can make the letter sound if they know that, or say a word that starts with that letter. Again, do make the activity as easy or as hard as you need to for your kiddos. And again, this would take just a couple minutes to set up. Now, if you, again, you can do uppercase letters. You can do, this is mixed, so it's uppercase and lowercase. You could also do numbers. You could add a writing component, so they fish for it. Oh my goodness. B, and then they have to write it on a piece of paper or in their journal. So they like do the fun part where they fish for the letter, and then they can write it in their book. So you can add a writing component to it as well. Thank you, sir. I had so much stuff. I have stuff over there because I couldn't fit everything on the table. Okay. So this is a light table activity you can do. And if you don't have a light table in your classroom, don't worry, because this is a tracing pad. It's in my Amazon storefront. I want to say it's like 20 bucks. This is the bigger one, and it has different brightnesses. I'm going to turn it down a little. Oh, look how bright. I'm like glowing. But I'll turn it on a little bit so you can see the activity. Now, I have a ton of blog posts on light table activities, so you can look at those. But this is my favorite one to do for camping. So I wanted some shapes, so I laminated some tissue paper and I cut them in 2 different shapes. Now, I did this initially at my big light table, so I would probably want to cut these and make these a little bit smaller since we're at my smaller like tracing pad. So you could cut these and make them smaller, make them fit your board. And then I have these light table shaped buttons. And then you want to make it fun, right? So I have these frogs. I've had them forever. They're kind of see-through, but not really. So you could put those out. If you don't have frogs, maybe you have ducks. I don't even know where. I know I got some of these from like dollar stores, but I think when my kids were little, they would get them for like different things because I have all different sizes. But, and I know some came in one of my Kinder Crate box, like the box subscription that I get. So I have a whole bunch of those. So again, use what you have. If you have duck or maybe frog mini erasers, you can use those, because what they can do is they can make the shape with the animal. So they can outline it to make the shape. So we have triangle, and then they can match it. So I have a triangle, this one's a square, and I just put them in a little cup over here, or you can put them on the corner, like if you have a little table behind it, you can put it back there, whatever you want to do. We're gonna pretend, oh, that is a rectangle. And then you can match them up. And it's just a really fun little activity. And again, this is just laminated tissue paper with its blue. And then use what you got. Now, let's say you don't have the or the frogs. What are you gonna get out? Get out some sticks. And you could also make these green if you wanted to. If you wanted to say that it was like the forest, and they can make the different shapes with the sticks. And don't forget, you want something they can make the curve shapes with. I'm not gonna do the whole thing, but they could make it with the rocks. Or if you have these gems, they can make it with that too. Again, use what you have. Everybody's like, you have so many manipulatives. When I was teaching, I didn't have this many manipulatives. I mean, I had the nature ones and the gems, but I have a lot of options. That way, hopefully, I bought more, so that way you guys hopefully have one of the things I have like in my class, or maybe you have sticks, or maybe you have the gems, so that way you can be like, oh, I have that, I'm gonna use that, or oh, I have the ducks, I'm gonna use that. So when I taught, I definitely did not have this much stuff. I have this much stuff so you guys have options, and that'll give you some ideas on what you can use and get out of your closet that's probably so full you forget what's in there, because that was what always would happen to me. Thank you, assistant. Okay. All right, I'm just gonna, it gets really bright. So this is my favorite option for a light table if you don't have one. So more, I know that was math, but let's do some sensory. So for our Play-Doh tray, I kind of just like to do bugs and critters, like little reptiles or amphibians. Like this little like bug pack I have has some snakes and some insects in it, and then I just have blue, oh my God, blue, brown, green, and blue. Now, if you make your own Play-Doh, that's okay too. I usually use the bags that zip open and zip close. That way it's easier for the kiddos to close the container. And if I put this out, will it get mixed up? Yes, it's fine. I don't care. Again, I'm not teaching this year, but when I would teach, sometimes I would have homemade Play-Doh. Sometimes I would use store-bought Play-Doh. It just really depends on honestly how much time I had. And then don't forget to put scissors out when you put out your tools. These I got from the Dollar Tree. They're like actually for the kitchen. So like the play kitchen. And then I have a spot open here because, again, we're gonna use what we have. And if you notice, I use a lot of the same things. We have rocks, bugs, gems, all from the Dollar Tree. You could put, we already have that out. You could put sticks in the middle if you have sticks, because those are really fun to put in the Play-Doh. If you have wood rings, you could put those in the middle. If you have green gems, you could put those in the middle. Use whatever you have. But it's a really fun, naturey, forest, buggy little Play-Doh tray. So, art. So, if you remember, in the back of my dramatic plate, there was a mural. The kids made the clouds, and we did that for an arrival activity. The first couple kids that came in cut the clouds, and then everybody else helped glue them on. One of my kids, I asked somebody to make a sun. One of the kids volunteered and made the sun during art. And then we have all the little critters in the forest. See them like little down there? So we have in the dramatic play camping pack. Now those are crafts because there's a skunk and a raccoon, and those are crafts because they all turn out the same. Ooh, thank you. But these will not. So this is a smash butterfly. So you cut out all the butterflies beforehand, And then put out those little squirt bottles of paint. Will you go grab those for me? Who's gonna grab them? And then what they do is they squirt a little bit out, and then you always have mine pre-folded so that paper's already done, and then they fold it and then they smush it. Now when they're smushing it, what are they doing? They're working on all of this great, they're strengthening all of these, and actually they're forearm too, because when you smush the little ones, they're working on this muscle too. And then when they open it, it's a beautiful smash painting, and once it's dry, put on some antennas on the back. It's in the green bucket, you see it? Thank you. So I typically, when I do smash painting, so it's not like crazy, I put out, and you guys know I love these. Oh, I put out all my little bottles. I keep them in my cabinet because they squish open and they squish closed, and they won't squirt as much as if you gave them a giant big bottle of paint. I get them on Amazon, or there's Discount School Supply also has some. Sometimes Dollar Tree has them. These are my favorite, one of my favorite things for the Art Center. These are great for spin art too. So, smash butterflies. Thank you, sir. And then all of the paper plate animals. You could do snakes. So they paint the paper plate once it's dry. I typically have my kiddos draw the spiral, which is a great fine motor activity, or pre-writing, and then they cut it. Or you can cut it the next day, or they can cut it before they paint. Because if you look, this is Austin's, my kiddos. I had my own kid in my class. So he cut it first. I can tell because his name goes right on the curve. And then he painted it. So, and then another fun art one you can do is to make birds. Now you're gonna say that this is a craft. It is not, because I'll wait till you see how one of my birds came out. Now I have these cut in half already, and what they're gonna do is they're gonna paint either a big bird or a little bird. They can paint it, have your paint that's at your easel, just have that out, whatever color maybe you wanna do, give them like blue and red, whatever. I had all the colors out. My crazy bird here, this is why it is more of an open-ended art project. It's a very abstract bird here. I love it though, it's so cute. So we painted it, and then we glued the feathers on, and then I have all the pieces. You can glue them on however you want, and I typically just have a tray like this, out, and they can make their bird. Super fun. And then you can put the snakes and the birds and the butterflies all in your forest, in your mural, and also on that mural too. My students also painted the trees too. So, really fun. Thank you, sir. Now, if you want to do a more basic, like campy activity, you can do these little fires. So what I do is I put out just pieces of brown paper. I typically grab my art easel paint as much as I possibly can. And then I would have these half pieces of paper out, and then all they would do is they would cut across. And I don't have any lines on this paper. They just cut across, and then they can glue it on, and then they would make their fire with the paint. That is an option. You ready for more options? Here you go, sir. Remember we talked about s'mores? You can do marshmallow art. So, now you're gonna say marshmallows are sticky. Not if you leave them out. If you have marshmallows at your house and they go stale, bring them to school and keep them, because I literally have these hard as a rock marshmallows that I keep in my closet. I only have 4 of the bigger ones. Hopefully I'll have some in my house go stale, and then I keep them. That way I'm not throwing away food, and I'm not buying food that's extra. Obviously, if you have to, it's fine. But also, I just figured out that these little paint cups are great for keeping paint if you don't want to like keep washing them. They're those little like ranch containers at a restaurant. My mom has a restaurant, so she gave me one sleeve once, and I use them all the time. So you would put one marshmallow in each one, and then they can make marshmallow pictures. This is a little friend's marshmallow picture that he made. Now, you wanted, maybe they loved doing this, and you're like, oh, they love doing the marshmallow painting. So, since they loved it, for small groups, say we're gonna make marshmallow patterns. So cut a whole bunch of paper into long strips. You can like cut it, fold it in half and cut it. But what you're gonna do is give them strips so that way they can go across in a line. And then what they're gonna do, I'm gonna do it fast so that way, obviously they would do it one at a time, but they would make their marshmallow patterns. They would go orange, green. And when you dry these overnight too, they're not squished, like squishy to where like they'll like get sticky and dissolve or whatever. And then they would go all the way across with their marshmallow painting. And then they have their math pattern going all the way across with little marshmallows. And did you see when I hold my marshmallow? Again, we're working on all that fine motor work. They're working on all of that pincer grasp that, again, they need to be really strong to hold a pencil. So, do marshmallow patterns. Now, I know you saw this over here for a minute. Oh, okay. You saw my bag of marshmallows? Did you see what was in here? So you can also get out toothpicks and the little marshmallows, and they can just build and construct. Or they can make, this is probably a square, shapes. So they can make rectangles. And they can use the big, if you have, if you think this would be frustrating because these are small, use the big marshmallows for this, and then take these marshmallows, leave them out overnight and let them harden. Then you can keep those for your art activities, so you don't have to buy extra marshmallows. But they can make all kinds of shapes with marshmallows, or they can just build, be like a STEM activity. So, marshmallow art, marshmallow patterns, and marshmallow shapes. All the s'mores activities that your heart can handle. Thank you, sir. Will you hand me the water tub? My assistant is very helpful tonight. Oh, be careful. So this is the sensory bin that I typically do. Oh, thank you, for camping. Now, if water isn't your thing, that's okay. You can do like blue rice and make a pond. That is an option too. Or you could do like brown beans and put some worms in it and little bugs, and be like kind of like the dirt and the grass, and you can put like sticks in it and all those fun things. But this is why I like doing the water. And what I would do is I would put water in my big sensory tub, and I would color blue so they can see it. And then I would make lily pads off of the foam. Oh, and if you put water in your sensory table, you always want to dump it out and fill it the next day, so we don't have germs and things, like nasty things growing, like bacteria and all the things. I have these little bath toys, and they float. They don't look like they do, but they are. They're not sinking all the way. So they can put the frogs on the lily pad. If you use the thicker foam, this is the thin stuff, it does float. Also, if you have like frog, like counters, if you have frog, like little, you have little, whatever, like little frog, little, what are they? Objects, whatever, any kind of little frog you have, you can put them in there. And then if you use the thick foam, not like I did with this thin one, they'll float. Here's my other one. Where's those other lily pads? Oh, here they are. Haha, I found them. With my frog bucket, I have these because I use them for all the different activities. Like this is a thicker one, and see how he floats better. So you have your lily pads. Now, you can also make this into kind of like a sinking float. Since I was gonna use these for some activities. You can put rocks at the bottom, or you can put gems at the bottom. And then one thing that's really fun, because frogs, what do they like to eat? They like to eat flies. So I got these little flies. I think they're for like, I'm sure I got them off Amazon, but you can put those in there, and or maybe you have some kind of other like little bug or something, but they can see how many they can fit. Maybe you have like little counters or something, but they can see how many flies they can fit on the lily pad. They could also do it with the rocks. And again, we're doing like some sink and float here with the lily pads and the rocks or the gems. And they'd be like, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this one sunk when I had 6, and be like, oh my God, look how many, you can't see it, but look how many flies are on there. That one hasn't sunk yet. And they can like, you know, experiment and test and investigate and all the things. And again, if you don't have these frogs, it's fine. Use whatever little frogs you have. I have like frog pencil toppers that I got from somewhere along the way when I was teaching. Those I put in there. If you have like the frog, like if in the any of your like math manipulatives, like these bears, but obviously they would be frogs. And frogs in any of those, use those. All right. Ready? Yep. Thank you, sir. All right. So we got sensory, art, fine motor, and I still have some more math and science for you. So let's talk about some STEM and blocks. So in the block center, and I have a picture on my blog, but these are my STEM drawers. So these are all of the, and I keep this in my Discovery Center. These are all the things that they build with that are small, like that they need to like probably play on a table with. So we have like Legos, popsicle sticks, Duplo blocks, pattern blocks, the little cups. I have a whole, the like brain flakes, all the little things. And now these are great, but I want them to try and build different things. I want them to experiment with different manipulatives. So what I do is, and I do this on a larger scale, obviously in my block center, I have all the different props on the top of my shelf. That's what switches out for each theme. But I also do it on my STEM shelf or my STEM drawers. So like I have bugs. Now if you look, is this full? Nope, because I'm using them in other places in my classroom. So we have some bugs. I have some leaves. I have felt because maybe I'll just get these out. Like this has cubes in it too, but maybe they're gonna build something. I'm just gonna do something like real quick. And maybe they're gonna build, and maybe they want a leaf, and then, you know, maybe they're gonna put like their snake on the top, whatever. And I also have these logs. Again, I buy stuff on Amazon. So, so that way, every time they go with these STEM drawers, they're not just building with popsicle sticks and cubes or just Legos. I have things at the top to extend their problem solving. And also up here, I have our STEM challenges, and this is the freebie for the blog post. So after this video, after you're done watching, hop over there. Again, is it where all the links are? It says freebie. So click there, go to the bottom, put your email in, and I will send you these STEM cards. And again, these are actually full page, and I just print them 4 to a page for the STEM center, or you can put these in blocks. But like I can build a tent. This is a really old one, but I can build an RV. I can build a cabin, a canoe, tackle box, a net, picnic basket, a bug jar, a waterfall, a lily pad, a river, daisies, dandelions, ladybug, a forest, a road, because you gotta take a road to get to the campsite, right? So maybe this person is actually building like a tent, or like this is the tent for, and they're using this as like the top or something, whatever. But that way they're building with more purpose, and these photos help them because maybe they've never seen a tent in real life, or maybe they did, but these kiddos are little, so maybe they went camping 2 years ago, but they really don't remember, right? Because that was a long time ago, because that was, you know, half of their lifetime ago. If they're 4 and it was 2 years ago, that's half their life. So maybe they need to look and kind of help them remember what a tent looks like, or maybe they've never been in an RV and they don't know what it looks like, or maybe they've never been in a cabin and they can, or maybe they have, and maybe this will help them go, oh, it needs a roof and windows and walls and a chimney, and around it are woods, and this has like a path, and this has grass. So you can really help them notice all the things, and that will help you. And then they can add to this tackle box is my favorite. And then they can add to their building based on the photo, which will then extend their thinking. They'll be thinking in higher levels, all the things. These are just felt squares. You can also use foam. I love doing this because they can pretend it's grass. They can pretend this is water, dirt. And again, it's not a lot of extra things, just a little bit. And again, it doesn't have to be a giant, this doesn't have to be like a full thing of bugs. It doesn't, less is more sometimes in preschool. And then I would also have those STEM cards in my block center with kind of the same props. And you can also do like gems. You could put in flowers, these wood rings. Obviously, you would put in forest animals. Put all of that in your block center too, so they can build little things for your camping theme, and then in blocks, they can build with the bigger blocks. Okay, math. So, for this one, this is new, we just added this. So these are going on a bear hunt 10 frame. So they can either pick the bear, which has the numeral on it, or the prints, like the footprints. And this goes 1 to 20. So if you have littles, hold on, like see there's some of the littler ones. If you have littles, put out cards 1 to 10 and use the 10 frame. So they would put 3 here, and then they could put 3 bears on. 1, 2, 3. And because, I mean, you have to read going on a bear hunt when you do a camping thing. And then this one has a 20 frame. So that way, if you have kids who are ready to work on those teen numbers, they can put all of them in there and they can build 11. And I know almost probably everybody has counting bears, so it's perfect. And again, you have the option of using the paw prints to count, or you can use numerals, whichever you want, or you can put both out, and then the kiddos can have a choice. So we did fishing for numbers. This is fishing for letters. Can you tell what I'm going to show you? Fishing for numbers. So this is a fishing for numbers printable. Now, there's so many ways to do this. I have this like plastic string that I put out with it sometimes. So that way, and I put, this is just like that tubing for like wreaths, and I got it from the dollar store in the craft section. It's a really fun sensory material, and it's really like not messy. So if you like sensory and you don't want to be messy, this is great. So you can go fishing and put magnets on them, and they can do 8 and 8. They can match them, and then they can string them on the fishing line. Uh-oh, I lost. And then they can match all their fish, and then they would have all their catches. Now, you decide what numbers you put in here. And there's numbers and 10 frames. So you can do numbers 1 to 10. You can do numbers 1 to 5. You can do 11 to 15. Maybe you're working on those beginning team numbers. You can do 1 to 20. You pick based on what your students need and are ready for. So that's another fun number fishing game. This is the only annoying thing to cut in this unit, by the way. There you go. So keeping up with the fishing and the math going. So this is another new activity that was added. And you guys, I mean, how cute is this? So we have a little fisherman or fisher girl, and they have to make a pattern with, or they have to make this pattern, sorry, not with that. They have to make it because that's the only pattern you can make when there's two. Or like here is this little lady, so they have to make that pattern. And all I did was I poked a hole and then I taped it on the back. And then we got this little guy, he has to extend his pattern. Whoop, that one. Let me show you some that are done. And I just have beads out with it. So we have this little lady and then she has her pattern. And then again, we're doing lacing. Lacing is so great for hand-eye coordination and building those fine motor skills. But oh my gosh, you guys, like this camping unit is so cute. And then there's also some in here and it says like make your own. And it says like you pick the pattern so the kiddos can pick whatever pattern they want. So really fun game. And then they do that activity. If they want, they can make their own fish and they can make a pattern on it. So if you need a worksheet to go with it, there you go. I have 3 more math games and then I have two science activities to show you. Okay, so we had s'mores, we had a literacy activity, so you have to have a number activity. So we have s'mores numbers, and I have them all matched up here, so it's easier for me. But typically what I would do, and again, if you look, I don't have these numbers. It doesn't start with 1, because maybe this group of kiddos I have, they're working on numbers 7 to 14. So we're working on kind of a little bit of teen numbers, but we're still working on some of our bigger 10 numbers. So I would line these up in a number, and then I would have all of the other ones mixed up down here, and then they would have to match them and make, oh, you can't see it, make the s'more. Once I do this for small group, then next morning I do it as an arrival activity, and I just have like these 1 to 10 on one table, and then I have all of these of the rest of the sandwich mixed up at the end. And so one group of kiddos can make all of the 1 to 10, and then I have at the other table the 11 to 20, and then those kiddos can make the teen number sandwiches, and then we can do all of them together, and it's really fun because they did it once for small group, and then they can do it as an arrival activity, as I'm like greeting families and saying hi to kiddos and all that, and then they can do it again. And then this is also really fun to put in a pocket chart after you do it as a small group. Oh, pass it to you. So we had picnic. Got another picnic game for you. So these are number cards. So we have a grill. Use your imagination. So we have like our grill parts here, and that's just some pipe cleaners. And then, so what they can do, and these are just number cards, but I also put in some number lines so that you can have them put them in order. So they can start with the grill, and then they would go like 1, 2, and if you look, it's all, what is it? Oh my gosh, you can't see it. Hold on. It's all camping food. And then they would just go all the way, obviously they wouldn't do that way, but they would do it that way, all the way to 20 or 10, because I have the numbers that go 1 to 10, and I have a number line that goes 1 to 20, so that way they have a model, and they can also check that way too. And then I have the spatulas, so they can get the numbers off the grill with the spatula. So fun. Here's that one. Thank you, Mr. Assistant. And then we have a shapes game. So this one has 2 board options. So we have 2 boards. So you can either have both of them out, or you can just do one, whatever you want. And then we have s'more shapes, and we have lantern shapes. Now they can match to whichever. They could put like the lantern with that one. But if you wanted to just have one board, it would be s'mores on the fire, and then you have a tent and the lantern, or they can stack them up, whatever you want to do. Now, if that's not hands-on enough for you, no worries. Put out some Play-Doh and get rid of the cards. And then the kiddos can make the shapes with Play-Doh. They can either smush it or roll Play-Doh snakes. They could also get out a dry erase marker and trace it and then match it, whatever you want to do. So a really fun shape game. Oh, and it has a worksheet if you want a worksheet with it. And then, assistant, will you hand me the rocks when you're done? So when you go, oh, hold on, sir. My assistant is very helpful. These rocks are heavy. I couldn't go over there and get it. So he's helping me tonight. So go, there's a book, like I'm going on a nature hunt. It's just like I'm going on a bear hunt. It's like a book from Scholastic. I have it from billions of years ago. But if you can't find that one, just read any book about going on like a nature walk, or again, any book about the forest. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna go on a nature walk around your school. And it's okay if you don't have a forest around your school, but you're gonna give them this is much easier to do on kids. You're gonna give them a tape bracelet. We're gonna pretend this is on. So you would do it. You help me. So you're gonna give every kiddo a tape bracelet. And again, if you don't have a forest around your school, it's fine. They're still gonna find nature. So I found some nature in my yard before I came, before the thing. So things that they're gonna find are leaves, and what they're gonna do is they're gonna stick it on. And maybe they found like a little leaf and a stick. Oh my, that's a big stick. I'm gonna poke myself. And they found a stick, or maybe they found this little thing. It probably has pollen over it. It's gonna make me sneeze. At the things I do for you guys, and like a little rock. You know they're gonna find little rocks. And again, you just have to walk outside into some grass, and they can find all the little things, because there'll be all kinds of little treasures. Kiddos love little treasures. Like they may find like a little seed that's like this big, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's so big, and you can barely see it, and they'll put it on there. And then they can go on a nature walk just like people do when they go hiking, or you can read a book about hiking too. Or maybe like they found this little thing, and what they're gonna be doing when they're finding these things, they're gonna be what? They're gonna be noticing, they're gonna be observing. So we're gonna be using all those sciencing skills as they're looking in the ground. And what are they gonna also be doing? They're gonna be talking to their friends, right? They're gonna be saying, oh my gosh, look what I found, or look over here. Oh my gosh, I found this seed, or I found this stick, or look, this is green. What is this? I don't know what this is. Like, come over here and help me. And they're all gonna be talking, and all those great conversations is gonna be loaded with great vocabulary, and like maybe they're gonna use some description, descriptive language. So maybe they're gonna, oh my gosh, like this leaf is red, and I found a red leaf, and I found a brown leaf, and this one looks like it was alive, this one's dead. Like they're gonna do all kinds of great description, use all those great words to describe their nature bracelet. So go on a nature walk or walk in the grass outside. It's really fun. So at my science table, which I will not show you right now because I know this is a longer video, but typically when I do camping, I do rocks at my science table. And if you go to my blog, I'll have a picture of that. But on the bulletin board, I have like, I don't have vocabulary words. I have like pictures, all that describe all the different vocabulary words, and they're all real photos. And then, so you want like real photos all over your bulletin board with all different things about rocks. And then you want to have some kind of rock investigation, as well as some books about rocks, and magnifying glasses and scales, or maybe you want a sorting board. But here, and everybody always asks where my rocks are from. So when I go on trips, I buy a rock because I like having fun rocks in my classroom. So if I go somewhere and there's like that thing of rocks, I'll buy like a rock. So that's where I got all these really fun ones. And I say trip, like it's like when I like to go camping. So when I go to all places, different places I go camping, I buy a rock that clearly wasn't from there, but it's fine. Or you can just buy it like rocks, like a rock set from like Amazon. But if you have rocks that are just like this, that are from like your backyard, that's what I had when I first started teaching. Just a whole bunch of like regular rocks. It also go looking like landscaping. Just wash them first. But before you bring them in your classroom, or have your kids bring rocks that they find to have a rock collection. My students loved these rocks just as much as they loved these rocks. Now, I don't have a lot of the colorful ones. I have a couple. But just start growing your collection. You can be a dork like me and buy rocks. My mom and dad also, if they go on a trip, they also bring me back a really fun rock because, you know, and it's something I use because it's in my classroom. Also, this is my rock bucket that's on my science shelf all year long because I love rocks. So I'll take some of these rocks and put them out on the table. I also put out, this is in my rocks science unit, but it just has what kind of rock they all are. Right? So that way as they're looking, this isn't the right one, but they can go, oh my gosh, this looks like this one. And they can be like, why? Because this one has, you know, they'll be comparing the colors and what it looks like and the kind of like if it's pointy, if it's not pointy, all of that. And then also in my rock bucket, I like to keep a book, but rocks are rough and kids are rough. So this is just a board book about rocks. Ideally, I would love it if it had real photographs, but it's okay. It's just a really great book about rocks and fossils. But guess what? When it gets thrown in here, the pages aren't gonna rip because it's a board book. I also have in my seashell bucket on my shelf, I also have a board book about that. So put rocks and some sorting boards and all of that, some magnifying glasses at your science table. Now, here's what I want you to do for small group. I want you to give every kiddo one rock, okay? They can pick the rock, you can have them all out and they can pick a rock and then have all your kids go to the table. And you'll give each one of them a sheet of paper and it can be a plain piece of paper or it can say like all about rocks at the top, whatever you want to do. And I want you to have the kiddos look at the rock and notice it. And they can notice their own rock, give every kiddo a magnifying glass. But as everybody kid has their rock, and you're gonna do this for a small group because kids are so fast, their attention spans are like this big, and technology is quick and busy, a rock is not. So a lot of kids, or nature really, or science things, they're not really exciting to watch, right? Like we all get caterpillars and they look at them for 2 seconds and they're done. And they have the butterflies and they look at them for like 5 seconds or a minute and then they're done. So we want to extend the time they observe and notice things. So you have to practice it just like you do anything else. So for small group, grab a rock, have each kid grab a rock and give them a piece of paper and say, okay, I want everybody to notice how does your rock feel, and have everybody feel their rock and be like, is it bumpy, is it smooth, and then have everybody talking about it. My rock is bumpy, or is it smooth on one part, this part is smooth, and Miss Jackie, this part's pointy, it's really rough, and give them all of those great description words. And then say, okay, how do you think your rock is really hard, or when you hit it are little pieces falling off? So is it crumbly? And you can talk about, oh, my rock is solid. It's really hard, like nothing's falling off. And then this person's gonna have a rock, or somebody will have a rock where like some particles of it will be falling off on the paper. And like, oh my gosh, look, their rock has pieces coming off of it. Like it's, you know, it's, oh my gosh, I can't think of the word, but use that word for it. And just do all the things. So talk about how does it feel? How is it hard? Is it solid, or is it crumbly? Because rocks is made up of all different parts of soil and things, and that's how rock is made. So have them talk about all the different, and talk about, is it big? What size is your rock? And everybody can say blah, blah, blah. And then, is your rock heavy? Is it light? And then everybody can feel it and they can talk about it. And then, what color is it? Oh, like, and then say, oh, but your rock is pink, but is the whole thing the same pink? Like I see like right here, it's really light pink, and then some spots are dark pink. And this spot kind of has like a little bit of yellow, and this has like white, and they can really be noticing that rock, right? So now maybe this, and again, this isn't really long. This is like a 10-minute small group. That's like a couple minutes of it. And then have them get their magnifying glasses out and they can practice using those. And then after everybody has their rock, say, okay, I want everybody to draw a picture of their rock. And so they can draw their picture of their rock. Blah, blah, blah. And if you want, if they have small rocks, like maybe they found on a rock hunt, you can tape it on there, or you can take a picture of their rock and then you can put it on there for later, so that way they're comparing the photo to their sketch. And then it's a great science artifact if you do portfolios for your science section. But yeah, have them look at a rock and examine it for a small group. And then also take a giant piece of butcher paper, because at the science table you may have a sort, right? We're gonna sort the rocks by small, medium, and large. Well, before you do that, they may not know what that sorting board is. So take a large piece of paper and write it into small, medium, and large. And write the word small, small, medium, medium. I forgot to do this. So obviously this would be like a giant piece of paper. So you would have small, and then medium, and then large. Since they can't read, you want to make it those sizes. And again, this would be a giant piece of paper or just a large piece, like an art easel size piece of paper. And give every kid a rock, and then have every kid come put it on there. Like maybe this kid does this, and somebody's gonna go, oh my gosh, like that's small. And then they're gonna move that one to the small part. And then they're gonna go, is this, and then maybe somebody puts it here, like that one's large. And then, you know, they're gonna talk and they're gonna go, oh my gosh. And then when somebody puts one on that's really, really small, and they're gonna go, oh my gosh, well, that one's small, and that one should go to big, and this one should go to medium. And then maybe like the next person puts one on, and then that one's small, and then this one, the next kid does, and then they're putting it on there. And this board should look exactly like your board that's on the science table. So now when they go to the science table, they're gonna know what this small board means because you did it in full group, small or whole group. And this is a great follow-up activity. If you read a book about rocks, then give every kid a rock and they can sort them. And that'll be the end of your circle time. So I think that's it. Did I get everything over there? Yeah. Oh, can you hand me that rock box? And if you want the entire rock unit, I have tons and tons of activities in my science unit all about rocks. So that would be your whole science center for you. So I hope you enjoyed all of these awesome camping activities. Obviously, you can also do like butterflies and things like, or insects, but I love to do rocks when you're camping. So yeah, so I hope you guys loved all of these awesome activities about camping. If you have any that you love that I didn't say, put them in the comments because I would love to hear what you do in your classroom when you're doing this camping theme. And again, the links are where everything is. There's a link to my store with all the camping printables. There's a link to the blog, which has the camping freebie, which are those stem cards. And then it also has links like book lists and things, and then my Amazon storefronts over there. So grab all the things, and I hope you guys have an awesome day or night, and I will talk to you guys very soon. Bye.